Welcome to the 54th video in the series, Foundations of Communist Organizing. Today we'll be going over the 1974 piece by the ICP, the Communist Party and the Tradition of the Left, and we'll be going over part 1, Centralism, today. I've subtitled this, Centralized Organic Party Embodies Action-Driven Class Consciousness. The party requires, above all, centralization and discipline, with both of these being reached through the real-life activity of the party, rather than through forceful means producing a false centralization and discipline. It requires organs, or recursions, this is cybernetics speak. We'll get more into the cybernetics aspect within the PowerPoint series, of direction and coordination for action according to the needs of centralization and discipline across all local and national circumstances. The reason for the need of such centralization and discipline is that, in order to be an effective organ of the working class, all militants and recursions must give absolute obedience and discipline to the center, which is aware of the activities of all local and national recursions. And actually, I'll just define recursion here. Think about Matryoshka doll, right? Those stacking dolls that are identical but smaller on the inside of a larger one. Essentially, recursion is the process by which a system's operation or structures in general are reapplied to themselves, taking what works and then implementing them on a lower and more localized layer, creating feedback loops that enable self-regulation, adaptation, and also hierarchical organization. But to be clear, it's not just repetition. It's qualitatively distinct due to the quantitative nature of it. So, for example, your large factory has a recursion in its more localized workforce area. These are doing different things, but is still similar enough that they are repeating themselves in some way, allowing for feedback loops, self-reference, scalability, and so on and so forth. Okay, back to the text. In the name of this centralization, the periphery should only take action in their local arena when under orders by the center, and in accordance to those orders, use only the approved technology matrix, the agreed upon tactics, so another cybernetics term, approved technology matrix, supplied to everyone by the center. The central organ, in turn, needs to maintain their theoretical principles and adhere to historical tactical norms which they are certain the rank and file will accept and carry out. As a side note, if these tactics supplied do not match the local conditions and are, as such, impossible to carry out as written for whatever reason, internal to the local organ or to the external environment, and the rank and file is barred from taking any action, then that means that they cannot obtain the basis for any further action, and the result will be the collapse of the local organ as it ceases movement, or the local organ will have no choice but to break with the center and take initiative. There must be a process for this, which does not result in the orders of the center being necessarily ignored, resulting in a split or crisis or development of factions. And the organic centralist model that they put out there doesn't have that as far as I'm aware. We'll talk about that later because I got an entire thing where I did my best to put together all the different analyses of organic centralism. It was an early version of what I intend to do with the PowerPoint series. Focus on organic centralism because there are a lot of questions there. They don't have any sort of organized, clear thing explaining how organic centralism works. And in fact, they specifically intend not to. There's an entire section in Lenin, the Organic Centralist, where it's like, oh yes. Actually, real quick, sorry for the abrupt screen switch, but let's look at what it says here. It's in Lenin, the Organic Centralist. What then is organic centralism? We will certainly not deny ourselves here by giving a series of rules, a code, a regulation, or worse, a statute. Rather, we will recall some of the cornerstones of our way of working, already partly outlined in the preceding texts. citing the party at various times of its existence. So, in other words, they make a specific point in not actually explaining what organic centralism is or how it functions, which, for obvious reasons, is not particularly helpful. Nor can you do any sort of critical analysis of organic centralism as compared to other organizational models, which might be kind of the point here, because it allows somebody to kind of sit in the middle of a dead zone and say, oh, actually, we have the best organizational model because our organizational model is anything. But that's not helpful for anybody, nor does it inform anybody on how to construct their organization, however that might be. And it's just not helpful. So I do the best that I can to put it together, and I have many critiques, as one might guess, and we'll get into that in my summary of organic centralism as claimed by the ICP. In an earlier version of this, before I had the intent to create the PowerPoint series, I put together an entire section talking about the character of organic centralism as defined by the ICP. And hopefully that will be helpful in understanding, but I'll definitely also, as usual, have an entire section that'll basically be that, but in PowerPoint format. So, yeah. Let's get back to the text. All right. The party requires all members to engage in theoretical work which analyzes events, social facts, and clarified tasks and what is necessary to carry them out. In support of this, organizational structures are required that expedite this in the most effective way. This may be some form of special recursions or periodic consultations at congresses, but it should never allow members to meet in distinct organizations or factions within but outside of the party, or publish their analyses in networks that are distinct from the party's unitary demands and positions. The rank and file need to have a variety of methods of doing analyses of their conditions and making their views clear throughout the organization, but all such methods must be within strict limitations that do not go beyond the party's official, proper channels. This is essentially just saying, we want everything handled in-house. Please and thank you. Don't show any sort of breaks within the party to those outside the party, which is fair, right? Continuing. These congresses that involve general periodic consultations do not pass judgment on the work of the center or decide who is in what position, but rather make decisions about questions of general orientation, thus passing indirect judgment on the work of the center, by the way, while keeping in mind the invariant historical doctrine of the World Party. In terms of deciding who does what, the party needs instead a hierarchical differentiation in accordance to levels of importance of role, with strict division of labor, whereby individual militants are assigned to different roles of order givers and order takers. The organs which perform and support the functions of the development of hierarchy, roles, and discipline of the rank and file in accordance to these need to be without any careerism involved. This is achieved through a constant cycling of militants between roles, and so on and so forth. The organizational structure of the party is a multi-phase pyramid, a cone, which converges to a central node which regulates and directs the entire network. The organs of the party and individuals are linked from center to base by inflexible party norms which bind all. These norms are based in theory, organizational rigor and continuity, and a precise method of strategic action determined within the range of allowable possibilities. These are strategic actions that we know work, or don't know whether it works or not within the limitations of the historical doctrine, and vetoed possibilities, which are strategic actions that we know historically don't work. The party's various organs, mechanisms for making decisions within the limitation of the center's demand for unitary results perform different tasks according to aptitude and material capacity. If a local organ is incapable of carrying out actions, then it is not required to perform at the same level as a larger and more developed one in a different organ. All activity that an organ undertakes is in service of a common goal, which thereby brings all organs into closer relation, as they rely on one another to carry out their necessary action. Over time, a natural division of labor is produced in the context of this rational plan, in service to it. Within this division of labor, no one, regardless of position, receives privileges over the rest. The ultimate goal is scientific, mutual connection between individuals, that is to say, an association of free and equal producers. And that is my summary of the ICP's The Communist Party in the Tradition of the Left, Part 1, Centralism. As usual, if you'd like to go over the quotations I derived this summary from, you can go into the description below and you'll find a link to this Google Doc. You'll also find a link to the United Marxist Pact Discord server if you'd like to talk about this text or any of the others within any of the series that have been published here or beyond. Tomorrow we will be going over the 1974 piece by the ICP, The Communist Party in the Tradition of the Left, but this will be on Part 2, The Party. Thank you for joining me for today's topical summary, and I hope to see you then.